So here goes nothing. It's all about showing up. That's what matters. I'm showing up today. Got off work. I have 20 minutes until I have to go inside my house. I have other duties to attend to, but I'm making this happen. I'm doing my first video. Why? Because it's something I've been wanting to do. I wanted to create content for so long. I wanted to have a YouTube series. I wanted to have all these things, and it's been brewing in my head for years. And I've written things down, and I've manifested what I really want, and I never could really lock in exactly what the brand's gonna be, what's this gonna happen, how am I gonna do this, and what am I gonna talk about, and all those questions. I answered a little bits and pieces, but then I decided that really my mantra is just like not overthinking it and just doing it. So what? It's not the most professional video. It's okay. You have to start. You have to start somewhere. And it takes me making this video in my truck as my first video. And this, excuse me, this is proof in the pudding, right? And you can tell people all day long to do something, but if you can't do it yourself, then really what good is that advice? And I really feel like, for me to show up, for me to just go at it, for me to just, take everything I've had in my mind for so many years and say, let's just make some content. And so what if the quality is poor? It'll get better, but it only can get better if you start measuring, and you can only measure if you start doing. So if you're thinking about something, you're thinking about a business or a passion or a vacation or anything that you spend your energy and investing your energy into, thinking about something, writing things down, anything that's on your goal list, my only advice to you is to just do it. And everything I've ever done in my life, I've kind of just picked it up and just did it. And I didn't ask people for permission. I asked them for forgiveness if I did something wrong, but it wasn't something that I took too much time wondering when am I going to do it. Yes, it doesn't just happen overnight, so don't let the words fool you. When I say just do it, you plan it, you figure it out, you feel really what it is that you want, and then you just set some expectations for yourself that are realistic. Your person, yourself, the conscious you, when you speak to yourself and nobody's around, you know yourself better than anybody else. And you can lie to yourself, you can be honest with yourself, you can, manipulate yourself if you want to, but deep down, we all know the truths about ourselves. And the truth is that we make up excuses and we force ourselves to believe things that aren't true just because it feeds into our narrative, and all humans do it. Not one person is, capable of saying, hey, I've never done this. No, we've all lied to ourselves. Oh no, staying in a relationship way too long, you were lying to yourself. Working a job that no longer suited you, you were lying to yourself. We constantly lie to ourselves. And sometimes we lie to ourselves by taking understanding of the world, everything around us, and how we digest the world. It might trigger us to lie to ourselves. In most cases it does, because if we're not comfortable in an environment, we can somehow assimilate and find a way to be comfortable. And that's just human. But it's really a growth moment, should I say, when you stop lying to yourself and you wake up and you're like, wait, I'm just lying to myself. I don't like this. I'm just following the crowd and they like this. But why do people actually like this? There's all these questions that we ask one of us. I can't talk, but this is why it's a prototype. There's questions that we ask of each other, of ourselves. Sorry, there we go. There's questions that we ask to ourselves all the time. And those answers to those questions, we find the answers, but it's really just in our conscious of what we think the answer is, and that's influenced with the books we read, the things that we consume, the people we're around, the attitudes of people, and that all shapes into this sphere called mindset. And most of our mindsets are poor. No matter what, even the most successful people don't always have a great mindset. People that have great mindsets, they will tell you it is not a one and done thing like a light switch. It is a thing that you grow, you mature, you facilitate, and you figure out how to launch it in ways where, you can share your mindset with other people, and you create an army of people that have similar mindsets as you. That's power. That's real power. That's powerful. And in our environment that we live in today, I think that's one of the most key important factors that will differentiate, winners and losers. It's the people that are effectively able to build communities of like-minded people. And there's so much that a community can do versus a person. And we all know that hey, it takes a village to raise a kid. It did take a village, and those kids came out amazing. And look at what happened now. There's no village. It's just mom and dad raising kids, maybe grandparent here or there. It's not that family constructed atmosphere that helps shape and guide you in positive ways, and you learn different lessons from different people, and that's the village. Now kids don't have that option, and it's like YouTube becomes their village, which is a little scary, and that's a totally different topic. But that's the same thing that happens with us now, and we've depleted the family structure. I mean, I feel like as a culture, they've made it less and less important and less about families and more about self. You look at social media, it's about, look at what I'm doing, look at me doing this, and look at what I have, and look at what I have friends that have this, and it's a continuous cycle of and the sharing of intimate moments on social media has become a way to garner attention or spread propaganda. It's like, it's so backwards, and their mindsets are destroyed. They're not in a growth mindset of building a family. And not saying that not just because you don't have a family that you can't be successful, or you don't have a growth mindset. I'm just looking at it from a macro point, saying if you look around, and I feel, in my opinion, what I've witnessed in my experiences is that I've seen the village dissipate. And these poor kids now, they didn't get to grow up in the same circumstances we did. So we have to recreate that for them and be able to build community, not just for your children, but for ourselves. And who's in your community? Who do you involve in your personal matters, your financial matters, your investments, your business talks, your growth talks, your mindset journeys, your elevation group, all of these different aspects and different groups and that people have, they're all little communities. And it's important to nurture those communities. It's important to provide nourishment to those communities. Nurturing with nourishment. Two different things too. Not the same. The continuous follow-up. The thinking about your community when nobody else is. Not wanting things from people. giving value, not for reciprocation, but for growth. See, a leader's only good with the army that he has. You have poor soldiers, you're a poor leader. You can't activate soldiers. In my business, we have soldiers, people that use their hands to build. It's a type of soldier. We're not shooting people, we're building things for people. But the mindset's the same. You can't have leadership, you can't have a strong team. The team is only as good as the leader. But the community you build with that team, the ability to help them grow as a people, for them to see new horizons of the business, to see the business growth, to see the business's values and their core principles, to see how the business treats customers and the value of customer service and follow-up and making sure that we do an excellent job. Understanding all these things, that takes leadership. That takes showing people how to, and not getting frustrated and losing patience when they can't, or they can't on the first try. I'm a big believer in taking people and growing with people and training them exactly on the processes that we have in place. And when processes are defined and with trained individuals that become highly skilled and trained over time, the trajectory just goes through the roof. And not all of them, but most of them will have a lot of brand loyalty for the person that helped put them on a trajectory, helped them win mentally and financially. And when you grow a full army of people like this that you're able to influence, you could do anything. Really. That's the key ingredient of the new world, is who's on your team. Not what you just did. What can your team do? Because you're a representation and they are a representation of you and them, vice versa. There's a value add on each side, but that value add only happens if you're able to give people actual value that's tangible. I'll give you an example, a real world example. I have a person that works for me that he's been with us probably 5 years. Pretty long time these days, especially in my business. And you kind of just had the basics, knowing how to do work, but not how to do it, but knowing that he's capable of doing work. And when I mean work, is moving things, lifting things, cutting things, measuring things, but no idea of anything else. I mean, a person like that, currently I'm teaching them just the small basics of plumbing after they've already mastered a single trade, and they progress their knowledge to be trained so efficiently over time that within 5 years they're now learning how to do plumbing. And some people might say, oh, well, that's slow growth. No. In our business, that's fast growth. To be able to take somebody from 0 to 80, not 100 yet, to 80 in 5 years. That they are self-sufficient. They can do everything that leads up to the new trade that they're learning. And the new trade that they're learning, they shadow other people, and they have good coaches. Just community we're building. We can take a person that might be a doctor that no longer wants to be a doctor, but has the ability to understand logic, practicality, and how to drive efficiency, all things that doctors excel at. And being able to take that person and say, okay, well, now you're going to be a carpenter. You're going to take those skills and you're going to be a carpenter. Or instead of a carpenter, you're actually going to be a foreman. that's where you kind of progress to. Well, to be a foreman, I need you to learn all of these little items. And it starts with carpentry. And then we'll take you to here. And we'll take you to here. And we'll take you to here. Where now we can start giving you some snaps on management and becoming a foreman. You were a doctor in your past life. It's not needed anymore. You don't want to be there. Maybe the world's kind of decreasing the amount of doctors needed because of technology. Now you have to use your hands. Instead of a surgeon, you're a carpenter. Your hands are your best friend. Different shift in mindset. But it takes a good leader to bring people to perform to their best level, to be able to do anything they put their mind to. And I say all that because we're at a weird, pivotal time in our society that people's identities are going to be changing. The guy that was an accountant for 25 years may not be the accountant anymore. And that's a big, change in your psyche. Changing a job is one thing. Changing your whole identity, because your profession and your identity sometimes go together and they're mixed together, and that makes you. And 9-to-5 culture knows this really well. But people are shifting. People are doing things that they didn't do before. The world is changing. And if you don't change with it, you know how that story goes. So this was my first podcast, content, clip, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't have a name. I don't have a brand. I kind of have a name. I put it out there and I changed it from my personal name. But just get ready. More of this is going to happen. I'm going to continue to show up, and stay tuned for the next episode.